Good morning and welcome to this tutorial video. My name is Elliot Webb and today I'm going to be guiding you step by step how to grow delicious lion's mane mushrooms like these using an Urban Farm It mushroom growing kit. First things first, let's take a look at the items within the kit and then also some additional items that you may wish to add in order to achieve maximum growth efficiency. What I have here is a mushroom fruiting block. It's the heart and soul of your kit. It's a block of organic material on which the mushroom mycelium is living and feeding, and it provides the nutrients that our mushrooms will eventually need to grow ready for us to harvest. It should look nice and consistent with a fluffy white material growing throughout it and no signs of contamination or stress. Those signs of contamination or stress might be green, red or blue mold growing on the substrate, and the signs of stress would be kind of a gloopy type liquid collecting at the bottom. So if you haven't got any of those, then you have a nice healthy kit and it's ready to go. However, if you're not able to start your kit straight away, it's definitely a good idea to store it in the fridge for an absolute maximum of 2 weeks. We've also got a spray bottle for maintaining humidity, 2 skewers for propping up the humidity dome itself, and your detailed instructions. Additionally to this though, you may want to add something like a plate or another watertight container to sit the block on, and you will also need some tape or an elastic band to help get your fruiting block into the right conditions ready for fruiting. The first step in the process is to prepare our bag by squeezing the air out and then pulling the plastic tight to the face of the bag. That way that there won't be any excess oxygen within the bag to cause the mushrooms to fruit in the wrong places. So to do that, I'm just going to take a knife or scissors and cut off the 2 top corners of the growing bag. This will allow the air to escape as we roll it. We're then going to roll the bag down and pull it tight to the face of the substrate block. We're then going to stick it in place with either tape or an elastic band. It's good practice to get this extremely tight to the face of the block, as the tighter it is, the less likely you are to have false pinning in other parts. Having squeezed all of the air out of our grow bag, it's now time to put the cuts into the face of the bag from which our mushrooms will grow. To begin with, put a 10 centimeter wide slit in the top edge of the bag, and then following that, put a 3 centimeter diameter X-shaped cut in the face of the bag. Very good, we're making some nice progress. So we've got our mushroom fruiting block all ready to go. The holes are now cut into the face from which our mushrooms will grow, and we're confident that our block is healthy and ready. The next stage is to prepare our humidity dome. The idea is that the localized area around the block is maintained at sort of 70 or 80% humidity, and that will be a trigger to cause our mushrooms to fruit. However, we also need to make sure that they have plenty of access to fresh air, so we're going to cut some holes in the humidity dome. To do that, or the easiest way there's many ways you could do that, but the easiest way to do that is to fold the humidity dome from top to bottom in half and then cut 2 5 centimeter wide semicircles into the fold. This will mean that at the end of the process we have 4 full-sized holes to allow for good ventilation. And just like that, all of our prep work is done, and now we're ready to rock and roll into the fruiting stage. So to get our block ready for fruiting, we're going to take our 2 skewers and put them like antennae at 45 degrees into the top of the fruiting block. We're then going to take our humidity dome and place it loosely over the top. It's important that you don't tuck this humidity dome tightly underneath the plate or underneath the block, because what we're trying to achieve is a nice loose fit with our skewers keeping the bag extended and not actually touching directly the block itself. The next, and probably the most important task, is to identify a suitable place for fruiting. Now, mushrooms are extremely sensitive organisms and they react to very small changes in their environment. So what we're looking to do is choose a place that has the right level of light, is the right temperature, and the humidity dome will provide the right levels of humidity. For lion's mane, that means we're looking for a space that's consistent in temperature, anything from around about 16 to 21 degrees. We want natural light, but no direct sunlight, Quite a good guide to use is, it would be the same amount of light as what would be comfortable to read by. And as I touched on a moment ago, one of the most important things is consistency. So we don't want to put this alongside any heat sources like radiators or outdoors in greenhouses. Once you've chosen a suitable location with consistent temperatures and the right level of light, the last piece of the puzzle is to add humidity into our humidity dome. I'd recommend that you use tap water for this, as it's clean and unlikely to introduce any additional contaminants. But how do we do it? Well, at least twice, but preferably 3 times daily, you're going to take your spray bottle and spray generously all the inside of the grow bag and even on the face of the block. It's also a good additional idea to spray a lot of water onto the plate, as this evaporates, it'll bring moisture up into the air and increase the humidity. After about 2 weeks, you can expect to see little baby mushrooms beginning to pin, and that means you're real close to your first harvest. Even though we're taking some really good steps to control the environment and provide our mushrooms with the perfect conditions for growth, it is important to remember that they are a naturally occurring organism, and therefore timelines and productivity may vary. Typically it can take around about 2 weeks to see your mushrooms begin to grow, but don't panic if it takes a little bit longer. If you're in the position where it's been 3 to 4 weeks without any growth during the incubation phase, then I recommend that you change the location of the kit. Even subtle differences like a slight increase or drop in temperature or a slight increase or drop in light could be the trigger that the mushrooms need to start producing. After moving it for another week, if you still aren't seeing any growth, then I recommend that you get in touch with the team and we'll show you how to cold shot your mushroom block. Choosing the right time to harvest is a skill that comes with experience, and the more you do it, the easier it will be to hit the perfect moment. Mushrooms, as you'll learn, grow extremely fast, and they can go from nothing to harvestable in just under a week. What you're looking for is for the nice long mane-like needles growing off the lion's mane mushroom, but you want to try and catch it as the growth slows down and before it starts to go brown. If your mushroom begins to dry out or change colour drastically, then you want to get it harvested, otherwise it will go past its best. As well as that, it's quite common for young mushroom growth to appear pink or orange, so don't be put off if you see that in the early stages. When it comes time to harvest, it's a really simple process. We're just going to grab it and twist the whole clump firmly, pulling it away from the block and trying not to bring with it all of the substrate material.